So we can deduce from the given information that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram because if both pairs of opposite angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So if these two are congruent, then it's a parallelogram. So we have deduced that this quadrilateral is in fact a parallelogram. So AD is parallel to BC and AD is congruent to BC. And we can deduce that the quadrilateral is a parallelogram because if one pair of opposite sides of a quadrilateral are both parallel and congruent, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So AD and BC. So yes, we can definitely deduce that this quadrilateral is the parallelogram because of these two right here. So AT equals CT and DT equals half of DB. So yes, once again, we can deduce that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram because if the diagonals of a quadrilateral bisect each other, then the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So because these two bisect each other, that means that the quadrilateral is in fact a parallelogram. If AB and BC and CD and DA are all congruent, then we can deduce that the quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So we can distinguish this by the theorem that says if both pairs of opposite sides of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is in fact a parallelogram. So we are going to start off with a basic statements and reasons proof. And your first one is always your given, and I always like to graph it out on the side on what it gives you already. So for the second one, we're just going to start off nice and easy by saying PROV is a parallelogram, and we know this by two pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Parallel. For our third one, we're going to say PR is congruent to OV and RO is congruent to PV. And we know this by definition of a parallelogram. So for our fourth one, we're going to say PROV is a rhombus because of its four congruent sides. For the fifth one, we're going to say angle RPE is congruent to angle VPE, and we know this by theorem 5-14, which is each diagonal bisects two angles of the rhombus. For 6, we're going to say angle REP is a right triangle, and we know this because the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular. So this right here is going to be a right triangle. For 7, we're going to finally get to the proving, and where angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary, and we know this because the remote angles of a right triangle are complementary. And so that's the end of my project. Thank you so much.